Are your people working hard but not reaching their full potential? The problem is not effort, it is development. At the Modern Observer Group, we transform workforce development into real performance. Our human-centered achievement programs help your team think better, communicate stronger, and execute at a higher level. That means higher employee engagement, stronger leadership, and measurable results across your organization. If you want a workforce that performs, leads, and delivers, it is time to invest in your people. Visit modernobserver.com and discover how the Modern Observer Group helps you build a workforce that wins.
Rashida Tlaib moves to help Hezbollah. Keir Starmer rails against freedom of speech. California loses Fortune 500 companies, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. Progressive Democrat Representative Rashida Tlaib of Michigan pushed a resolution seeking to help Iranian-backed terrorist group Hezbollah. The measure would require President Donald Trump to withdraw U.S. forces from Lebanon. For months, Israel and Hezbollah, a U.S.-designated terrorist group and Iranian proxy, have been at war in southern Lebanon, but the United States has not joined the conflict. A bipartisan coalition of lawmakers, including House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, rejected the measure. Critics argued the resolution would aid Hezbollah and potentially hamstring U.S. military operations in the country. Tlaib's resolution failed 324 to 92, with more than half of House Democrats joining nearly all Republicans to vote it down. Meanwhile, Hezbollah rejected the latest ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon. The deal, which had been brokered by the Trump administration, stipulated that Hezbollah would withdraw from the region of Lebanon that borders Israel and completely stop attacks. But Hezbollah, which is backed by Iran, did not participate in the negotiations and refused to agree to the terms before the ceasefire even took effect. In a statement yesterday, Hezbollah leader Naim Qassem said a ceasefire would need to include Israel stopping attacks and withdrawing from Lebanon. Israeli Minister of Defense Israel Katz said yesterday the military operation in Lebanon would continue at this stage. The House of Representatives on Thursday passed a sweeping security package providing new military aid to Ukraine and imposing sanctions on Russia, delivering a sharp rebuke to the Trump administration who opposed the measure. 18 Republicans crossed party lines to support the Democrat-authored legislation in a vote of 226 to 195. California Representative Kevin Kiley, an independent who caucuses with the Republicans, also supported the legislation. Meanwhile, Representative Ilhan Omar was the lone Democratic lawmaker to vote against the bill. House GOP leadership and the vast majority of Republicans opposed the legislation aimed at bolstering Ukraine's defenses amid a surge in Russian missile and drone strikes as the conflict enters its fifth year. The measure now heads to the Senate, where it faces an uphill battle to clear the chamber. The White House said the legislation would undermine President Donald Trump's goal of ending the prolonged conflict and that he would veto the measure. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer on Thursday illustrated the lack of freedom of speech in Britain when he claimed a post by Elon Musk on X about a murder that has triggered a public outcry and protests constituted interfering in British politics. Last year, 18-year-old Henry Nowak was handcuffed by British police as he lay dying from stab wounds after his killer falsely alleged a racist attack. The killer, a Sikh man, was sentenced on Monday. Video footage released after the sentencing showed officers ignoring the pleas of a dying, innocent man and has sparked anger and a political storm about how police treat different ethnicities. Former National Security Advisor John Bolton reached a deal with the Justice Department to plead guilty to one count of mishandling classified materials. Bolton was charged last year with 18 counts of improper use of classified information after he allegedly shared it with family members while writing his memoir. As part of the deal, Bolton would have to pay a $2.25 million fine, but could avoid jail time depending on a judge's decision. A longtime Republican diplomat, Bolton served in Trump's first administration for more than a year before the president fired him in 2019 over foreign policy disagreements. Texas has overtaken California as home to the most Fortune 500 companies, claiming 57 headquarters to California's 56 on this year's list. The shift was driven by companies like Tesla, McKesson, and Oracle relocating to Texas, drawn by the Lone Star State's lack of personal income tax and lighter regulation. Meanwhile, a proposed California ballot measure would impose a one-time 5% wealth tax on residents with assets over $1 billion, a move critics say is accelerating the exodus. Texas also led the nation in population growth last year, adding more than 391,000 residents, while California posted some of the steepest losses. That's the Raw Naked Truth for June 5th, 2026. Remember to like and subscribe to the Raw Naked Truth wherever you listen to podcasts. You can catch every episode of the Raw Naked Truth Daily News Brief, as well as our sister podcast, Carnivore Radio, with news analysis and commentary, and the rest of the Xvadio Podcast Network at xvadio.com, the Apple Podcast app, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.